Assalamualaikum, dear sisters and brothers. For tonight's dinner, we're preparing two dishes. We have a main dish and we have a side dish. The main dish is Zereskh Polo ba and that's basically rice, plain white rice, polo, with barberries and pistachio, and it's served with a chicken stew that's cooked in tomato sauce. And the side dish, it's Qaliyeh Esfenaj, and that's basically fried spinach with lentils, and it's cooked. The lentils and the spinach are cooked in that whey sauce that we showed you, the kashk, and they're garnished with dried mint, fried dried mint, and fried onions, and also some kashk. We're preparing our side dish for today, which is Qaliyeh Esfenaj. And Esfenaj basically is spinach, and Qaliyeh means fried. So for Qaliyeh Esfenaj, we need spinach, the main ingredient. We need some fresh mint, onion, lentils, whey, kashk, we talked about it. When you cook the yogurt until it's thick, it's called kashk or whey. And we need some minced meat. You can use lamb, veal, beef, or a mixture of these types. So to start this dish, I just chopped some spinach, a lot of spinach, and I'll add to that some mint. I will just chop the mince finely. Next, I'll finely chop half of the onion. I'll just push it aside, and I'll thinly slice the other half. So this half that I sliced, I'll fry it and I'll just use it for garnish, and this other half that I finely chopped, I'll use it to cook the spinach with. And I'm finished with chopping the onion. I'll just put it aside. And I'll proceed with preparing the meat for the meatballs in this recipe. I'll just finely grate the onion. So I grated the onion. So I'll just wash my hand and get the spices for the meatballs, and I'll show you how to shape your meatballs. So we don't need many spices, just like some black pepper and some turmeric. And also a bit of salt. and just simply mix it. And I'll just get a plate to place my meatballs on. So this is how you simply shape your meatball. This is how big it should be. We don't want them to be very small and we don't want them to be very big. So this is the right size. So I'll take all the ingredients for this recipe. I'll head back to my stove and I'll show you how to cook this recipe. So I'm just cooking the lentils for Qaliyeh Esfenaj. I'm just adding the lentils with some water in a pot and basically just cooking it until it's tender. So I'll just cover it and set it aside, and I'll start with the next step for this dish, which is frying the meatballs. And to fry the meatballs, we need some oil. I'll just add it to the pan. You can do it in a pot by using this deep pan. I'll take a spoon and I'll fry the onions that we chopped. And I'll fry these for 2 minutes until tender, and then I'll add the meatballs to them, and I'll fry the meatballs as well for 5 minutes. Then I'll show you what to do for the next step. So I'll add the meatballs into the onions and I'll just fry them over medium heat until the meatballs are cooked and also browned. So I want the outside to look brown and also I want the inside to be fully cooked. So I'll leave it over medium heat for 10 minutes and I'll be back. The meatballs are ready. I'll just take them off the pan. I'll put them in a plate and just set them aside. So as you can see, I'm leaving the onions in the pan. I'll just add the herbs that we chopped earlier, the mint and spinach. I'll just cover it with the lid and I'll leave it over medium heat until the spinach reduces and it gets cooked. And then after that I'll show you the next step. So I'll just cover this. the spinach and the mint, they just reduced and they're properly cooked. At this stage, I'll add the lentils that we cooked previously with the water, with the cooking water. And remember, when we cook the lentils, we shouldn't add salt to it because that makes the cooking process longer. I'll just stir these. Also, you can add any other kind of beans you like, the red kidney beans or the smaller white ones or whatever kind of beans you like. And to this, I'll add the meatballs and I'll add the whey. First, I'll add the whey, the kashk that we had, and then we will add the meatballs. So this is a very healthy vegetarian dish if you would just skip the meatballs. If you want it to be vegetarian, just serve it with the beans and the spinach and mint and the onions. And if you want, you can add some fried garlic to it as well, or chilies. You can also fry them and just add it to this dish. But today we're making it with meatballs. To this spinach and lentil mixture that we have here, I'll just add a small amount of turmeric, just a very little bit of saffron, and some salt. We don't want to add too much salt because the kashk already has, it's preserved, so it has some salt in it. I'll add a bit. Since I'm fasting, I cannot taste it, so I'll just give them the salt shaker and they can add if it needs more. So I'll add the meatballs to this. I'll stir it and I'll just put the lid back on, and I'll leave it over medium heat for another 10 minutes. Then I'll show you the next step. So now after 15 minutes, we have this spinach, Qaliyeh Esfenaj, with the meatballs and the lentils. They're ready to be served. So I'll just let raise the heat, and I want all the liquid evaporates. I don't need any liquid in this dish. So I'll just leave it over high heat for 5 minutes, and then I'll plate it and show you how to garnish it. Our next recipe is just basically the stew that we're gonna serve with our rice, and it's very easy. Just chicken, onions, and tomato paste. So basically I'll start with some oil, and I'll add the onion that I chopped for that. I'll leave it over medium-high heat for 2 minutes until the onion is tender. Then I'll add the chicken to it, and I'll fry the chicken for 5 minutes. I'll add the chicken to the onions. I reduce the heat to medium, and I'll add some salt and black pepper to this and turmeric. And I'll leave it, I'll cover it with a lid and I'll leave it for 10 minutes until the chicken changes color to white. And then I'll be back to add the saffron and the water so I can just properly cook my chicken. So I'm adding some salt, some black pepper, and turmeric. I'll give it a stir. So I covered it and I'll leave it over medium heat for 5 minutes. Now in this step, I'll add the tomato paste. And some saffron that I brewed. You can just add saffron without brewing it, but since I have this brewed saffron, I'll use it. And I'll just add a dash of rose water, very small amount, and I'll give it a stir. Sometimes also you can add apples, like apple wedges, just to cut the apple into 4 pieces and just add it to the stew. Usually the apple is not served, but just gives the stew a very fragrant, sweet flavor. And so basically makes it more delicious. But I'll do it very simple and plain without the apple. At this stage, I'll raise the temperature. I'll raise the heat and I'll add some water. And I'll just put the lid and I'll let it come to boil, to a rapid boil. And then when it started boiling, I'll just reduce the heat to medium and I'll cook it for half an hour. So now I'm going to prepare the barberry and the pistachio to be put in on the Zereskh Polo. For that, I'll add a bit of butter in my pan. I washed and soaked the Zereskh. I'll just take them off the water, squeeze them a bit, and put them in this butter. I'll just stir it quickly. I don't want to burn the barberry, I just a quick stir with the butter, and I'll add some saffron, some brewed saffron to this, and also some rose water. And also, we need for this recipe, we need some sugar. So the barberries are sour, so I'll add just a bit of sugar to that to give it just a sweet and sour flavor. Not much, just a bit. Smells really nice because of the saffron and the rose water, and also the butter that we have. I'll just get a plate and put those on a plate. So I'll put some butter in the same pan that I was frying the barberries in it, and I'll simply just fry the pistachios. Just not really frying, just like roasting it, giving it a very quick stir with butter just to make it fragrant from the butter, and also it gets warm and all the essential oils in the pistachio starts releasing. And that's it. I'll take it off the heat, place it in a bowl. Use my cookbook Authentic Iran, explore Iran's culture, and learn how to cook more than 100 of Iran's delightful recipes. Get your copy on Amazon or on express.com.
Polo.